Okay. Dan kata Al-Qurtubi yang bermaksud adapun Allah mensifatkan dirinya Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim setelah Ar-Rahman untuk menjadikan targhib, penggembira yang mententeramkan hati setelah merasa agak gemetar mengenangkan like I mentioned lah. So after saying Ar-Rabb, Allah then say He is merciful, the compassionate. Okay. Then Surah Al-Hijr ayat 49 yang beritakanlah kepada hamba-hambaku bahawa aku maha pengampun lagi maha penyayang dan bahawa azabku adalah azab yang pedih. Dan firman-Nya dalam surah An-Na'am yang bermaksud bahawa Tuhanmu pantas menghukum dan ia juga pengampun lagi penyayang. So Allah, every time He mentioned that He is someone who, who give punishment, He immediately after that will remind us that He is also merciful. Okay, so that's why in the Quran every time mention about Jahannam, the hellfire, it will also talks about paradise. Okay, so give us hope and fear. You need hope and fear. If only hope, then everyone hore-hore. That's Allah is merciful lah. Okay, never mind lah. Okay, go party. So at the same time, Allah also remind us, okay, there is these consequences lah. Okay, but if ever you do mistake, don't worry, I am merciful. Okay, so you have both hope and fear. Okay, so that's why even like in school, for example, there is reward system and there is now they call it consequences. Punishment not the right term anymore. So even in parenting, they tell us, you don't use punishment. You teach your children consequences. So, but dulu, all of us, there's no consequences. So now in parenting, they tell us that we teach consequences. Okay? So yeah. So every time Allah also teaches us here okay, that whenever He mention about anything that can intimidate us, He will at the same time remind us that He is merciful and He is compassionate. Okay, so in the hadith, okay, mentioned here in the book, "Lau ya'lamul mu'min ma 'indallah minal uqubah ma tami'a fi jannati ahadun wa lau ya'lamul kafir ma 'indallah minar rahmah ma qanata minar rahmati ahadun." Which means that if a mu'min knows what is the punishment that Allah has prepared, okay, nobody will ever have hope to enter paradise. Okay, so if the mu'min, the believers, knows that the punishment Allah has prepared is so great, nobody will have hope to enter paradise of the fear. Okay, or of the fear. And the other way around. Okay, if people know what Allah has prepared, okay, for them in paradise, then everyone will have so much hope. Kalaulah orang kafir itu mengatakan if the kafir, okay, if the kafir know the mercy of Allah, then they will never be despair, lose hope of Allah's mercy. Okay, so Allah's mercy is great. At the same time also His punishment is great. So fair. Jadi if everyone get the same treatment, it's not fair. For example, a murderer get away, the good people also get away. Then how is that fair? So Allah is fair lah. Allah is fair. So that's why there is Jannah and also there is Jahannam. Okay. Ini sesuai dengan firman Allah dalam surah Ar-Ra'd ayat 6 yang bermaksud, dan sesungguhnya Tuhanmu pengampun kesalahan manusia dan sesungguhnya Tuhanmu amat keras siksanya. Okay, so which means that Allah is the forgiver of the sins of humans, and also He is He gives the retribution, severe retribution, severe punishment. So Allah, even though He is forgiving, at the same time also, if you don't seek forgiveness, He is he will serve justice. Okay, so that's why as long as we are still alive, the door of forgiveness is open. Okay, in the hadith, Nabi SAW says to us, meaning that the door of forgiveness is open as long as the person has not reached what in Arabic called ghargara. Okay, ghargara means like the stage where if you see someone who's about to pass away, give this like gargling sound. That kind. So dia macam like berbuih gitu lah. Bukan mulut berbuih but there is that sound lah. I've never heard lah. Okay, but people say when people are about to just on their last breath, they start giving this sound. Okay, so basically till your last breath lah. Okay, your door of forgiveness is open until your last breath, or until what's the second time when the door of forgiveness is closed? Yeah, one is when our last breath, right? Then there's one that is going to close for everyone. But when? When the sun rises from the west to east. Okay, so that will be the time when everything will all the door of forgiveness will be closed forever. So but by then there's no more believers. Okay, there's no more mu'min, and also the ones that are still living are the worst people. Okay, they'll be the worst people. They will have intercourse outside like donkeys. Then they say that even there will be one guy like go to them and say, why don't you go behind the wall? And that guy is going to be like the Umar of that time. So what I mean is he's like the very righteous person. So the righteous person also don't find it a fault. He just say that it's better if you do it behind the wall. Okay. So that will be the before Kiamat. Okay. So so that's why one of the dua we pray not to go through this situation, inshallah. Okay. Then the next ayat, it says Malik Yawmiddin. Okay, Malik Yawmiddin. There are two riwayat or two qiraat. Okay, the qiraat, the one that we common, which we recite, is called the Hafs. Okay, Imam Hafs, the riwayat of Imam, the qiraat of Imam Hafs. Imam Hafs, he reads the ma panjang, long. Okay, two harakat. Malik Yawmiddin. But if you look at Rasam Usmani, the ma has got have no alif. It's only got a small alif. Okay, why is it? So that it can be used for other qiraat as well. Okay, so other qiraat, they don't read the ma long. They read it short. So they read Maliki Yawmiddin. We read Maliki Yawmiddin. So they read Maliki Yawmiddin. So what is the difference? Malik means the king. Malik means the one that owns something, the owner. Okay. Then the one with the alif, Malik, that is the king. Okay. Both means the same actually. Okay. It's just that. So master Malik is also like master. Okay. Yeah. So when we know that Allah is the master, and then he say Yawmiddin, okay, Malik without alif is Raja, and Malik is the yang memiliki, yang master lah. Okay, so with the alif is the one that is the owner. So here Allah say he's the owner of the day of what do you call that? Retribution, the day of retribution, the day of judgment, pembalasan lah, the day that you will get your you get your justice or the consequences. So on that day, so in this world, whatever rewards or whatever punishment we get is not the full reward or the full punishment. Okay, so the full punishment and the full reward is only going to be in the hereafter. Okay, sometimes it might not even happen in this world. Okay, you might not even get it in this world, but confirm you get it in hereafter lah. Okay, so like rewards and punishment. So Allah might give sometimes rewards in this world and also punishment, but what we must know is that this is not the full reward. Okay, this is not the full reward. Rather, the one in the hereafter is the full reward lah. So they say that whatever dua you make, okay, sometimes the dua you don't get it in this world. Okay, so you might think like why you make dua, you pray, but then the dua it seems like it's not accepted. So there are many reasons lah. Okay, one of the reason could be what you ask for is not the right thing for you. Okay, like for example, like I dua to be millionaire, but till today, look at bank account, you cry. So maybe it's not the right thing for me. Like if I'm a millionaire today, I don't think I'll be here. Maybe chilling out somewhere lah. Okay. So, tak nak buka kelas I just pay people to. So he knows lah. Okay, that is not the right thing. But instead, Allah give something else. So it could be other things lah. Like you do, He might give you health or good family, things that it cannot be bought by money. Okay, you can sleep at night. You could be millionaire but cannot sleep at night. Need to take pills. Okay, so peacefulness, all these are. So sometimes what you ask for might not be the right thing for you. Okay, and Allah is running this whole universe. He cannot give everybody what they want because they will cause chaos. Okay, so imagine if everyone make dua to be king, and then Allah accept everyone's king. Then who's going to there's going to be a lot of problem lah. So that's why not everyone will. Allah knows best like what's for you. Okay, so but that does not mean you lose hope and don't make dua lah. So you make dua, but bear in mind that Allah will give you the best. Okay, it might be not straight away, might be 10 years later. Okay, so sometimes what you ask for might not be the right time. He give you when the time is right. Maybe you want to be promoted. You don't never get promoted. Maybe Allah know not the right time. If you get promoted now, you'll be too busy. Then your family, you have young children and all that. They will not taken care. So Allah knows best. Okay. But you still make dua. This is just a worldly example. Okay. So if you make dua, Allah could either give you now, or He could give you later, or He will substitute it with something better, or He might not give it in this world, but He give it in the hereafter. And in one hadith, it says that the people who receive their supplication in the hereafter, their dua, they receive it in akhirat, they will wish that all their dua was not accepted, all they get in. So so we should never be despair. Dua is also part of what do you call this, ibadat. Okay, it's also. It depends. How do you know whether the blessings that you get, is it istidraj or what do you call this, nikmat? It is the way how you accept this blessing. Okay, if the blessing cause you to be more obedient to Allah, cause it makes you to be closer to Allah, then it's a sign that this is a ni'mat. But if the blessing is making you further away from Allah, then there's a worry. So like just say like whatever you get. If this thing makes you forget Allah, then that means it could means it's some. Yeah, even though the thing could be good. You could even get a degree in Islamic studies or something, but when you get it, you get riya, or then that is a sign that. But if you get a degree, but it makes you closer to Allah, then that's a good sign. Yeah. But anything good. Also, like you could you afford to buy a what do you call this, landed house. It could be a nikmat, and it could also be the opposite. Depends on how you. If the landed house makes you want to just stay in your house, don't then, or if the house makes you more grateful, then it's a sign that it's a nikmat lah. But we show it's not that once you get it, it's going to be nikmat all the way. It can change also. So basically, we have to continuously check lah. Continuously check, because sometimes after a while we might tend to forget. That's why in Jemaah they say you check your niyat, right? Beginning, middle, and end. Because sometimes beginning you study, the niyat is correct. Later then, okay, if I go master, then okay, so that's why also in the salat, so Surah Fatihah, every day we make dua, right? Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. We want the right path lah. So whatever we get, we want it to be on the right path. That's why the dua 17 times a day kan. Okay, so here Allah says He's the Malik of He's the master of the day of resurrection, or the day of recompense. Okay, so Allah never say specific things He is master of, but He says master of the entire day. So that means on that day He is in control of everything. Nobody has the rights. Okay, Allah is in control of everything. So when He is the one, okay. So if you look at this ayat again, is the Surah Fatihah is thought of by Allah telling us He's the Lord of the entire universe. Okay, so when He is the Lord of the entire universe, which means this world, and also is the Lord of the hereafter, then by default, automatically, common sense, He is the one that you're going to worship. That's why after that, it says, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Okay. Why we will worship Him? Because He's the one that created all of us, created the whole universe. Okay, which we learn from Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay, and Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. We learn this, right? So when He is the Lord of this whole world, and then He's also the Lord in the hereafter, then He is the one that we should worship. Okay, and He is also the one that we should ask. Iyyaka wa iyyaka nasta'in. Dan kepada Engkau-lah kami meminta pertolongan. Only to Him we seek help. Okay. So here nasta'in, we seek help. Allah did not specify which kind of help. So any help, whether worldly help or akhirat, anything lah, you ask Him alone. Okay. Okay, inilah pengakuan seorang hamba kepada Tuhannya yang Esa. Ni apa ni? Asa. Yours is Esa, mine got Asa. Esa is one. Pengakuan ini merupakan kesempurnaan taat kepadanya. Dengan pengakuan sedemikian bererti ia tidak menyekutukan Allah dengan sesuatu, sama ada pengutuan yang berbentuk ibadat ataupun yang berupa permohonan kepada yang lain daripadanya yang tidak mempunyai kuasa dan daya upaya. Okay, so what it means here is that Allah is the one that we will worship only to Him, and we will not worship anything else. And at the same time also we will not ask from any other makhluk. That's why when we go out, they say apa? Jangan tanya makhluk kan. Jangan harap makhluk. Okay, jangan. Dah lama kan, sebab tu dah lupa. Jangan harap sama apa? Jangan minta. Jangan harap dengan dalam hati, jangan minta dengan mulut. So ni iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Only to Him we worship, only to Him we seek help. Okay. Penghambaan seorang hamba Allah adalah suatu penghormatan yang diboleh oleh hamba itu, sedang penghambaan terhadap yang lain daripada Allah adalah satu penghinaan kepada diri sendiri dan penganiayaan kepada hakikat yang sebenar. Okay. So if we follow or we worship any other deity or beings beside Allah, then that is one kind of penghinaan. What is penghinaan? Disgrace. It's a disgraceful act, and also is a zalim lah, transgress. Okay, you are a transgressor. So zalim means you put something not in its correct spot. Okay, so for example, zalim is if you don't solat on time, also you are being a zalim lah, because you are not doing it on the correct place. Okay, so zalim does not only mean zalim like you beat someone or you take somebody's wealth or their possession. Okay, zalim could also be like you disobey Allah lah. When you disobey Allah is also zalim, because the rights of Allah is to obey Him. When you don't do that right, that means you are doing zalim. Okay. All right. So that is iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Okay. Then ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. Guide us to the straight path. Tunjukkanlah kami jalan yang lurus. Okay. So kami bermohon kepada Engkau, Ya Allah, agar memberi kami petunjuk, pimpinan dan pengurniaan supaya kami dapat mengikuti jalan yang lurus dengan menurut agama yang dibawa oleh Engkau, oleh Rasul Engkau Muhammad SAW, iaitu agama Islam yang tidak ada satu yang bengkok padanya, dan tetapkanlah kami di atasnya dan janganlah Engkau pesongkan kami daripadanya. Okay, so there is a one issue here, not issue lah, one point, which is people ask why do we need to ask for hidayat? Okay, so even the prophets also need to ask for hidayat. Does that mean the prophet don't have hidayat? So there's a question that people might ask. Why even the prophet also in salah also ask what? Oh, guide me, oh Allah. Does that mean the prophet is not guided? Whereas he's the one who's guiding people, right? So the answer to this is that hidayat has three types lah. One, hidayat is a person's name. No lah. Pak Hidayat. There's three types of hidayat. There are three types of hidayat. One, hidayat is general. Is everyone have this hidayat. So hidayat of this kind, the general one, not only for humans, but for every creation. Even the non-living thing got hidayat. Okay, in the Quran also Allah mentioned this lah. So for example, like what I mean by in the Quran, what we learn is that every creation of Allah have understanding and have feelings. Only we might not see them, we might not know how their feelings or the way their feelings are different from us. Okay, for example, in the Quran, Allah says, "Wa min shay'in illa yusabbihu," that everything is praising Allah. They are doing the tasbih of Allah. So even the stones, the trees, okay, the soil, everything lah, they are doing tasbih Allah. So for them to do tasbih Allah means they recognize Allah lah. So they have recognition. So even the non-living thing also have intellect lah. Not intellect lah. Intellect is human. They recognize lah. Okay, they recognize Allah. Only some have more, some have less lah. So like the living things have a bit more compared to the non-living things. Okay, even now scientifically proven that plants and all this got feelings. That's why to be vegetarian or vegan and then say that you are being cruel to animal is not true lah, because you cut trees, leaves also they have feelings. Okay, scientifically proven lah. But this already mentioned in the Quran lah. So everything has feelings and also have they recognize Allah, okay, and they all get guidance from Allah, hidayat. So this guidance refers to, for example, like the earth rotates around the sun, okay, following the guidance of Allah lah, okay. The sun is also spinning, right, rotating, then the moon going around the earth. All this is in the Quran also mentioned as hidayat. So that is the one kind of hidayat. Okay, so this is general. Everyone, Muslim, non-Muslim, all got this guidance. Okay, then the second type of guidance is the one that the Prophet shows us. So the Prophet guide us. That is the second kind of hidayat. So this second type of hidayat, only the Muslim has it. Only the believers, okay, they have this hidayat. They were guided by the Prophet. Okay, so the third kind of hidayat is only for the special people, which are the prophets and the wali Allah lah. Sebab tu in the doa, right? What was the doa? Let me remember. Siratal ladina an'amta alaihim minan nabiyyin was-siddiqin wasyuhada'i was-salihin. Kan? So there is a doa, right? So that is the third kind of hidayah lah. This was given to the nabiyyin, the prophets, nabiyyin was-siddiqin, the siddiqin, was-syuhada, the syuhada, the martyrs, and salihin, the righteous people lah. So these are also the level of people lah. The highest is the prophet, and then the siddiqin. Siddiqin is like Abu Bakar Siddiq. He always membenarkan everything that Nabi SAW said. Okay, so there's a second level, and then there is syuhada, the third level lah. The fourth one is salihin, the pious orang-orang soleh. So these people get a special hidayat. So what is this third hidayat? This hidayat is what is known as tawfiq. It's called tawfiq. Normally we ask, right, Allah give us tawfiq and hidayat. So tawfiq means it will make it easy for you to internally and externally to worship Allah. So this is the third kind of hidayah. It makes it easy for the person internally and also externally lah, to worship Allah. So when you have tawfiq, that's why when you get tawfiq, then it becomes easy for you to wake up for Fajr and do subuh, go and do your subuh. So there's the third kind of hidayah lah. So when the Prophet, when they read Ihdina Siratal Mustaqim, they are referring to the third kind of hidayah. For us, we are referring to the second one, which is guidance to the straight path, the one that the Prophet is bringing us to. Okay, so don't be confused, because there are people who say that there are contradiction in the Quran. Quran say, innaka la tahdi man ahbabta. You cannot give hidayat to whoever you want. So this hidayat is referring to the second type. Okay. Sorry, this hidayah is referring to the second type lah. For the second type is up to Allah who He gives. Okay, who He gives. So, and then there are some in the verse Allah says Allah give hidayah to everybody. So in this one, when He say hidayah to everybody, He's referring to the first hidayah, which is general. So there's no contradiction in the Quran lah. Okay, so they are actually different kind of hidayat. But the one that is in Sembawang is Pak Hidayat. Ashafa. Okay. Masih lagi ya. Okay, so then Sirat, tunjukkanlah kami jalan yang lurus kan? Lurus. So what is jalan yang lurus? Lurus. Jalan yang lurus, the straight path is, we got less than 1 minute. Wait, let me stop this. We will make a new, you cannot give hidayat to whoever you will. Only Allah has the will to give this hidayat. Okay.
For example, Islam tapi dia tak solat. Jadi maknanya dia tak jatuh dalam kategori.
He never received the taufiq lah. So he got the hidayat, but he hasn't got the taufiq. Okay, so apa ni? Yeah. The next ayat, Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Okay. So just now Allah mentioned Siratal Mustaqim kan. So there is also a question now. Why Allah don't say Sirat, the path of the Quran and Sunnah? Why did He say the straight path? Okay. So the reason is because the straight path is refers to the path of those four groups. So in a way, trying to tell us that it's not possible for you to be on the straight path just by learning Quran and Hadith. You need to be learning it from these four. From the Nabi, if you are not living with the Nabi anymore, you learn from the Siddiqin or Shuhada, or so the Shuhada passed away already lah. So you learn from the righteous people. So the only way you can get real hidayat is through learning from people, not just by reading Quran and Hadith. If you read Quran and Hadith without proper guidance from a scholar, then it will not be Sirat al-Mustaqim lah. Dia dah sirat lain lah. My own sirat. So that's why macam nowadays there's a lot of people who just learn from internet or all this without proper guidance, and so dia tak ada tarbiyah dia. There's no what do you call this, the impact lah. So that's why here is also Allah is trying to tell us that if Allah could just say follow the path of Quran and Hadith, but Allah say follow the path of the Nabiyyin, Siddiqin, Shuhada, Salihin. So you should be in the company of these people to be on the right path. And when you want to learn Quran and Hadith, you must go through them. Cannot just learn on your own. Just open book Hadith and try to understand your own, and that's where people can be misguided lah. Okay? So you need this silsilah lah. Okay. Okay, Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin, the path of those, not the path, the path of those who you are pleased with, and not those who you are angry with, or the one that are lost. Okay, iaitu jalan mereka yang telah engkau kurniakan nikmat. The path of those people who Allah given nikmat. Who are these people? I say lah, the four. Bukan jalan mereka yang dimurkai dan bukan mereka yang sesat. Okay, so who does it refer by jalan yang mereka dimurkai? The Jews. Okay, Yahudi. Orang Yahudi adalah people that Allah is displeased with. Okay, why? Because they killed their prophets, okay, and they were ungrateful. They did a lot of harm to their prophets. Like Nabi Musa alaihissalam, for example, after he crossed the Red Sea, you know the story, right? He hit the sea with the stick, opened a path, they all cross over. When they cross over, they saw Fir'aun coming. Instead, they start blaming Nabi Musa. They say, what are you doing? Why are you letting Fir'aun cross? And after Fir'aun drowned also, they still not happy. They tell Nabi Musa, we don't believe that he's dead unless you show us his body. So still Allah show, okay? You want Allah show them the body. So in the Quran, Allah mentioned, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, that today we have preserved the body, so there will be a lesson for people that is to come. Okay, so when they see the body, then okay lah, then they okay, he's dead. But this is also one of the apa ni, the miracle of the Quran, where it predicted people in the future will discover this Fir'aun's body, and the body will still be preserved. So they found it already lah in 1970s like that they found, and then but this is the exact the Fir'aun that drowned during Nabi Musa's time. There was a German scientist, French ke German and whatever lah. He came to Egypt to study one body they discover. So this body was not mummified. It was just macam apa, naturally preserved. So when he studied, then he realized that the time this Fir'aun, this Pharaoh died, was the time of Nabi Musa's time, and also he died of drowning. So then he studied. So later that scientist became Muslim, because when he discovered that, he was like, wow, we've discovered it, right? Then he told the Egyptian, which are Muslim, he said, oh, we have discovered the Pharaoh of Musa. So they all like macam chill lah. Oh, okay. That is like amazed, like why they are not surprised. So he later learned that because in the Quran already mentioned we are going to find the body. So when they found it, they're like, okay, we found it. So then he started learning Arabic, and he started he wrote a book on these scientific miracles of the Quran. So he discovered a lot of other scientific miracles. His name is something Bouquet. some French name. He wrote a book called The Quran, the Bible, and Science. Something like that. So that's why Allah never mentioned what surah of the path of Quran and Hadith. Rather, he said follow the path of those who are Allah has blessed them. Okay, and not those who Allah displeased with, which here refers to the Yahudi. And wala dhalin means those who are sesat, which is the Nasara, the Christians. Okay, so why they are considered sesat? Because they went away from the teachings of their prophet, which is Nabi Isa. So Nabi Isa never taught them he is the son of God or God, and he never said worship him, but they went astray. They went extravagant, extreme. Okay, that's why dalam Islam we cannot be extreme in both sides. Okay, one is too extreme that everything is wrong. You cannot do this, cannot do that. Like too extreme lah. Like to take taxi is also wrong. For example lah. So that's too extreme. And also such extreme that you started to consider the ulama and all this to the level of God lah. Like you see, there are people who in India, Pakistan, they got this pir. You heard of pir? Like you go Nizamuddin, right? You go, then there's like pictures of. Then they have their own room. So basically, they terlalu agungkan. They elevate their what do you call it, scholars to the level of Nabi, prophets. Okay? So there is that kind of extreme, and then there is other kind of extreme. So Islam teaches us to be in the middle, not too extreme, until you don't listen to the ulama, or not the other extreme where you worship the ulama. So it should be in the middle. Okay. Kan macam they are nowadays, like people like don't follow any imam anymore because they basically so that's the one extreme lah. The other extreme is you terlalu sanjungkan ulama until you go to their grave and worship the grave, stuff like this lah. Okay, that's the other extreme. So yeah, so that is what we should refrain from lah. Okay, so yeah, the khulasa of this surah Fatihah. Okay, kesimpulan dari surah Fatihah, surah yang dimulakan dengan nama Allah yang Maha Pengasih lagi Penyayang, yang memberi pengajaran kepada kita bahawa segala sesuatu yang baik kita lakukan hendaklah dimulakan dengan nama Allah. Okay, so one we learn from surah Fatihah is that Allah is the most merciful and the compassionate, and everything should begin by the name of Allah. That's why surah Fatihah started with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Shafiee. Regarding Bismillah is part of the surah or not is between the mazhab lah. The ikhtilaf of the mazhab. That's why Shafiee, when we start the salat, we say Bismillah. Hanafi don't say Bismillah. They do lah, but they in the heart, but it's not wajib. So if they forget to say Bismillah, their salat is sah. Shafiee tak sah, because according to Shafiee, Bismillah is part of Surah Fatihah. So if you miss Bismillah, means you miss one ayat of Surah Fatihah. So for them, right, how is it 7? Okay, if you look, Siratal Ladina Namta Alayhim is one ayat, is the 6th ayat lah. Ghairi Maghdubi Alayhim Waladhdallin is the 7. Tapi kalau according to Shafiee, Suratul Ladzina An'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin is one ayat. According to them, that is 2 ayat. So it just Duri. So there is ikhtilaf among the ulama, but it's just not big deal lah. Okay. So you want to read, pokoknya you read. So lah, the pokoknya you read surah Fatihah lah. Okay. Okay, so also here we learn that we need to have khawf and raja. What is khawf? Khawf is fear, raja is hope. Okay, so to live in between fear and hope. If I'm not mistaken, Umar also said this. Iman is between fear and hope lah. So you don't be too hopeful, macam the Nasrani. God is love, so so everything is okay lah. You can do whatever you want. Okay, and don't be too fearful. Also, like the Yahudi, they're very too strict ah. The one that following lah. Okay, they're very strict. The fridge also, they cannot mix dairy with the dairy product cannot mix with meat. So they have 2 fridge. Sink also have 2 sink. Cannot wash together. So they make themselves difficult. In the Quran, Allah mentioned they make things that was halal, they made it haram, and haram they change it into halal. Okay? So yeah. Okay, so the rest you can read yourself. No, it's just the khulasa of what we have learned, inshallah. Because I look all of you, your eyes half already.
Ni orang nak tanya, ada yang mengamalkan selepas Fatihah dia ada baca Rabbil Karim wal Hidayah. Tak tahu apa sebab.
Lepas apa? Lepas solat. I mean dalam solat. Don't know, never come across. I mean, like never come across hadith like that. It could be amal.
All the old people do that. What ke jahil can hear them whisper lah. Old men lah, not the young lah.
Maybe it's a tradition lah. Satu. But it's part of the in the Quran. Jadi to read something from the Quran is okay lah. Kira macam lepas Fatihah you read a surah or ayat. If it's something else then cannot lah. Cuma when you do it cannot have the niat that this is a sunnah act. Just amalan lah. Boleh lah. Because like I said that dua is from the Quran. So you can read anything from the Quran in the Qiyam. So it's not wrong lah. But to specifically think, after Fatihah you have to do this as a sunnah, then I don't think it's considered sunnah lah. It's just mustahab or something that so sebagai amalan doa, okay. Amin apa? 4 rakaat. Tu tak kisahlah. You mean to panjangkan dia? Dia actually kena panjang sikit. Amin. Cuma jangan terlebih sangat. So dia panjang. Ya, min, the mi tu panjang lah. Sebab ada ya kan. Alif dia ada macam that misai. Mim ya nun. Min. Sebab ya mati. Lepas mim ada ya mati kan. Haris disukun lah. Perbezaan dalam makna? Amin. Not really ya. Cuma kalau tak panjangkan dia macam tak kena. Amin makna dia tak tepat. Amin means like Allah perkenankan. So the A needs to be slightly long and the min also. Kalau pendek jadi amin. Aman. Apa? Yang
Min dia panjang pula, itu lain makna pula.
Amin. Gitu. Itu dah nama orang.
Kawan saya.
Amin maksudnya selamat sejahtera. Tak kan? Waladhalin, sejahtera macam peaceful gitu lah kan. Tak kena. So makna dia dah salah. Sebab tu kena amin. But it's not a major issue lah because it's not part of the Fatihah pun.
So tak cakap, tak baca pun
tak apa je. Tak baca nanti dengar kat belakang. Amin.
Ada perbezaan Fatihah rakaat ketiga keempat. Dia cakap kena baca, dia cakap tak perlu baca.
Okay. According to Shafiee is kena lah. For all four. Kalau Hanafi yang tak perlu. Sebab tu kalau Hanafi you tengok kan. Rakaat ketiga empat laju kan imam dia. Kalau banyak yang Shafiee masih lagi tengah terkial-kial lah, imam dah rukuk dah. Imam baca tapi sebab imam tahu makmum tak payah kan, imam apa. Anyway, imam kan dah naik dulu. Jadi dia dah start baca lah. Jadi dia tak kisah yang belakang, sebab belakang tak perlu baca. So kalau Hanafi, makmum kira jadi autopilot. Imam don't relax lah kat belakang. Imam kena tanggung lah. Sebab tu kalau imam yang wuduk batal, semua batal solat. Sebab dia on autopilot. So whatever pilot does wrong, semua kena lah. Hanafi. Tapi kalau Syafi'i tak.
Kita boleh mufarakah je kan.
Tak mufarakah pun solat kita sah. Contohnya macam imam terlupa wuduk kan. Imam pergi solat. Yang belakang ikut. Kali imam, alamak. Tapi dia punya solat kira sah sebab diorang kira kalau Shafiee macam dia tak ada, you can say macam connection lah. Semi auto. Semi auto Tapi kalau Hanafi, katalah tengah solat, imam perasan alamak dia tak ada wuduk, semua solat batal lah.
Tersasul berapa perkataan yang bukan masalah. Terus pergi tanya orang lain berapa. Terus lepas tu orang tu pun jawab balik. Tu kawan kas. Ada lah. Satu sebelum yang sebelum tutupnya. Habis terus lepas tu time tu kan. Ada Ustaz juga yang Ustaz juga. Sekali ada Siptalingnya. Siptaling tak silap. Ustaz juga. Orang Pakistan kan. Dia cakap kita solat pagi. Betul macam sebab ada yang kita kan, kita Shafiee kita terus just tambah je lah. Sekali ada cakap dia tak boleh solat balik terus solat balik. Dia terus take over. Dia bawa Ustaz tu terus take over, terus dia jadi imam. Sekalinya ada lah satu Pakistani seorang terjemah kalau elders datang dia terjemah.
So start balik lah solat.
Start balik lah. Yang Hanafi semua solat balik lah.
Bukan kalau Shafiee yang
Shafiee semua kata betul boleh solat.
Yang macam kalau diorang pernah sekali ni dah habis solat semua tau. Sekali imam dia terperasan yang dia ada luka. So according to Hanafi, kalau ada darah keluar mengalir, ya wuduk batal. So dia kena inform semua. Ada yang dah balik semua kena solat balik. Tapi zaman tu tak ada WhatsApp. Macam mana? Tukar tu yang nanti suka-suka kita nak ambil tu. Dia kalau betul-betul zarurat lah. Betul-betul zarurat dan boleh ambil pendapat lain lah.
Siapa dia bagi makmum, habis yang tak kita semua. Betul nak kena tambah lah, orang tak semayang ke, orang tak sah tau. Betul
Dia kena cubalah sedaya upaya dia.
Ayolah ni, sampai pasal. Ya juga ni.
Yang pasal dah buat tu, application verify Mufti. Kalau habis nanti
Okay.
Jangan tu.
No, as in stop the Zoom. Okay kita stop dulu lah. Subhanallah.